Hey, how you doing there? Have you ever wondered about why personal growth, self-help, reading the books, taking the courses, have you ever wondered about why that might not be working? And I'm about to share that answer with you here after many years and plenty of financial resources invested in, years of studying, research, going through all the books, going through all the courses. I've compiled three main areas of personal growth. So, if you're watching this video, chances are you've maybe gone through these programs and something's just not working, or you feel like it's just not clicking, or the ideas are not being fulfilled, your goals are not being achieved. There's certain things that are not working for you. And I'm going to summarize it into three main areas. And within these three main areas, you're going to find the answers to this question of just why isn't it working? Why isn't it clicking? What do I need? And you could be in all sorts of different areas of personal growth. You might be looking to grow financially. You might be looking to grow in your relationships. You might be looking to grow as a person in your career, whatever that is, in your business, whatever that is. These are going to be the foundations that ultimately help in expanding into all of those areas, not just one or two or three, because this is the foundation of all personal growth. And with that said, we're going to take this into three main areas. And this also includes spiritual, if you're a spiritual person as well. And these three main areas are going to be summarized as a physical reality, your conscious experience, and your subconscious. That's it. And I'm going to go into details, especially, and include specific things that you could do or books that you can read to work on those areas. Now, first of all, we're going to go over this whole concept of how, this physical idea, the physical reality of the world around us. That is all the things that we experience. That is all the things that we see and hear and smell and taste, and potentially things that we want to experience, the physical manifestations, right? Most of us want all of that. Most of us have this experience. We see it and we may have an opinion on it. We go see a pet, a dog, an animal, and we see it in a physical reality, and we're either attracted to it in the sense that we're attracted to wanting to go pet it. We like it. We like dogs and we like animals and we want to go play with the dog. Or you might be completely scared of dogs, or you just don't like dogs at all. You could care less. They're just another animal to you. So that is the physical reality. That is everything that is not our minds. And, just talking about this spiritual side real quick, there's a lot of thoughts, opinions, and ideas on the spiritual side. I'm not saying that this is a spiritual belief or this is spirit or anything like that. I'm saying specifically that as a person of who we are, a physical being, these are the main elements that are covered in the area of personal growth as like a person. So whether you want to grow spiritually, these things can help you. Whether you want to grow in wealth, finances, health, relationships, all of those things, the things that I'm about to share are the foundations of that, and they can all be applied in those different areas. So with that said, I am a spiritual person. I believe in people all having spirits and all of that. But this isn't a spiritual video in the sense of, talking about spirits or anything like that. So with that said, talking about this concept of a physical reality, right? We have all the physical, the things that we want is a part of personal growth. We want to know, how do we bake the best cake on the planet? How do we motivate teams to help create companies? How do we create a building? How do we do all of these things? And that requires the physical reality, the control of our environment, the movement of objects around us, and even people, the inspiring, motivating of people, the leading of people. These are all important things in the physical world that we experience that we want. That is the first area of personal growth. It's not like a not like a tier like 1, 2, 3 from top to bottom. It's more like, levels, right? This is just the first level. It's like the tip of the iceberg, or even just the tip of the iceberg. It's not even the tip of the iceberg. So we have all this experience of everything around us, and then we want, what we desire. Like, that's what we tend to think of as the physical reality of things. Now let's take this to the next level, deeper than that, or the next level. Might not even want to call it deeper, because you might just say, oh well, I love the material experience of the world, which is fine. There's no judgment here. I'm not like, trying to establish one as better than the other. But this is just different levels. If one isn't working, then you could start to apply the three, a different one. So next area would be conscious. And by the way, most people talk about the reality, like how to bake a cake, how to make 20,000 more dollars this year, how to multiply your money, how to create a multi-million-dollar business, how to what are Jeff Bezos's habits, things like that. So those are not just conscious, but those are the things that we, believe that we want to do with the physical world. And then we're looking at the conscious world here. Let's look at this conscious idea, right? These are all of the things that we end up doing consciously. The words that I'm saying consciously, the actions that you do consciously, the things that you think about purposely. And there's a difference between things you think about purposely and the things that you think about unpurposely. Like, you might just be laying in bed and random thoughts start to pop up, right? That is a conscious thought, but I'm saying that there's a purposeful thought guided towards an action. So what that might include is simply, you read a book and it talks to you about your conscious, talks to you about the book, or you read the book and it guides you through like conscious activities, actions that you can do right now, like how to motivate yourself, how to get yourself intrinsically motivated, setting goals, things like that. That is a conscious activity. You need to think, you need to plan. When you start to plan and think about how to start to mold your reality and all of those things, then there is that area of a conscious planning, conscious effort, conscious thinking, conscious creating. And then from there, you bring the conscious with the reality, and that's the how. But even at this conscious level, even at the level of like consciousness, you might feel like something is missing. You might feel like, oh, there's something not working. I'm doing all these actions. I'm working hard. I'm starting to create these habits. I'm becoming a better person. I'm getting more fit. I'm reading the books, or I'm doing the actions. I'm doing the activities. I'm going out and meeting people and doing all that. And then if there's still something that's just not quite right, you could have great habits, you could have an amazing physical experience of the world, physical manifestations of the world, you might have an amazing attitude, amazing positive attitude that you spend day in and day out cultivating, which is great. And that's awesome. And maybe there could be a extra opportunity for you to grow even beyond that. But this next area, like the conscious activities, right? The second area is conscious activities, where you're just constantly moving towards something. You're excited about something. You're able to get yourself motivated. You're able to wake yourself up in the morning. You're able to be mindful of the world around you. Like, no matter what thoughts pop in your mind, you're able to be very mindful of it and make good decisions. So that is all conscious activity. Now, if something's still not working, if you still find yourself making poor decisions, you still find yourself not quite getting into the motivation, you find yourself doing the actions, but you haven't really tackled, you still feel like there's something holding you back or something else, that next level is ultimately your subconscious, your subconscious. And I'll call it the subconscious here. You could call it like unconscious. You could call it like, the level 1 or level 2, level 1 consciousness, level 2. I think that's what Daniel Kahneman calls it. Or there's another author who wrote another book, but I can't remember the name. But it's basically about like 2 levels of conscious. Either you're constantly reacting to something like this reptile brain, and then there's like your conscious thinking brain. But anyway, we're gonna talk about that super like below the level, this subconscious area, the area of your mind, your brain, or whatever you want to call it, that contains every single thing that you've ever experienced and how that molds your physical reality, your consciousness. Now, this is probably the strongest level that if you can handle this area, then everything else is just going to start falling into place. Everything else just starts falling into place just like that. And this isn't just me coming up with these ideas. These are very, very successful people that I've expanded on these ideas around. And by expand, I mean simply make some videos like these, what's it called? Making videos like these that help to bring these ideas together. I mean, the concept of the ID, the ego, and all of those things, the conscious, subconscious mind, they've been around for probably a couple centuries now, almost since the early days of, mind, mental science, and all that. So these have all been around. This is nothing necessarily new, but this is specifically to help someone get the ideas that could possibly benefit them if they're not quite working out. So let's say you've done all the actions. You know how to create art. You know how to do marketing. You know how to talk to people. You know how to build a small business, but there's just this small gap that's not working for you. It's possible that you just haven't found the how, or you haven't found the right employee, or you haven't found something yet in a physical reality. But it could also be you're conscious, right? Maybe you're just not motivating yourself enough. Maybe you're not responding to things in the right way. Maybe your communication level is off, like with how you communicate with people. Maybe it could be all of those different areas. And then on top of that, you go even just one level deeper. What is affecting those things? Your habits, the way you communicate with people, the way you go about your daily activities. Are you repeating the same things over and over, the same ideas, the same activities, and they're just not working for you? With all of that, I mean, this encompasses almost everything and affects everything, the subconscious level. Every single thing you have ever experienced, everything you have witnessed, everything you have seen, every idea that you have taken in, whether it was from someone who's highly successful and an influencer, or you read it in a comment on Twitter during an argument from some random celebrity influencer by some troll. Maybe you read that comment and that affected you in some way or somehow. I mean, it's possible. It's possible. I've read comments, and they can be pretty toxic, and they can affect whether you even decide to go on social media. So with that said, this subconscious area, you might not be consciously thinking, oh, well, this is a bad idea, or this is a good idea, but the mind that you have that has taken in all these experiences that ultimately helps to mold and transform who you are, that also ultimately transforms your physical your physical being, how you see things, how you value things. That is the deepest possible level, and that can be a very hard and challenging thing to overcome, to tackle, to tackle. And here's the thing. I mean, you can go to, and I'm not talking just about therapy. You don't necessarily need therapy. I mean, yes, if you have, some like trauma or depression or like something like that, that's, something else that's worth going to see a certified like expert psychologist, clinical, heck, even go to like Scientology. They've got things that help people be like they've had their own levels of therapy and mental training, mental things, So with that, it all depends on what appeals to you. And, obviously Scientology is controversial to people that are not in it. And, it's they don't like to be mixed in with like, the psychiatrists and things like that. But their Dianetic system is a huge evaluation of the mind and all of that, and it helps people to ultimately tackle this subconscious. And maybe that doesn't work for you. Maybe something else is even better. So with that said, there's this entire, like, if you have some challenges that you're trying to overcome and you want to tackle that part of your mind, there's some amazing tools out there. You got to find the one that works for you. But looking back at this concept of the subconscious mind, the unconscious, all of these things, and why it's important to understand is because it affects every single thing you do. It affects your conscious and then the conscious activities. Like you might be doing something, right? Say you got a habit of like something unusual that bothers your significant other, like picking your toenails, just something gross like that. Or excuse me, I don't want to, I try not to judge anybody, but if you pick your toenails and you love it, fine. But for some people it might be discomforting. There's a reason why you might want to get rid of that habit. So, and I had that habit when I was like a little kid, like when I was like 3 years old. Good thing or 4 years old. Good thing I got out of that habit. So with that said, and it might be a habit to get out of as an adult. And if that bothers you, then, and you see yourself doing it, you're thinking about the conscious activity of doing it and you just do it, or maybe you even do it unconsciously. But if you do it and you realize that consciously, like, hey, oh, well, this isn't helping. Why do I keep doing this? How do I stop? I'm doing it right now, even though I know I shouldn't. That is this whole subconscious concept that we're talking about here. What gets you to do that? You might not be you're even consciously thinking, and maybe even a physical environment saying that this is bad, I shouldn't be doing this, I can't do this, don't do this, but you're still doing it, and you might stop yourself after a couple seconds. But how do you get rid of that habit? That is the ultimate question. And with that, you might have great habits, you might have a great prosperous life, you might be happy and all that. That's absolutely fine. You wouldn't be watching this video at this point probably. But when we get down to that subconscious level, that is the thing that starts to transform and mold our basically entire reality. Our ability to be happy, our ability to overcome obstacles, our abilities to persist, our ability to have grit, our ability to have focus in an activity. And then from there, you can really start to build great things on top of it. You build a solid conscious activities. You start to build greater habits. You start to feel more confident and have confident thoughts and confident beliefs and all that. And from there, you start to experience reality in a way that that makes you happier in so many ways. So, and not just happier, but exceed your expectations in both the conscious world and the physical world that you're experiencing. And there can be all sorts of different levels there, whether they be in your wealth, your health, your spirituality, your relationships, and all of those things. So with that said, there's some amazing things you could do to tackle your subconscious mind. And again, you don't necessarily need, I'm not saying you need like therapy to do that. There's some great books out there that can help you do that, because it can be as simple as being aware, being mindful, meditation, being aware of your thoughts, starting to take into consideration these thoughts that pop up, because those thoughts are popping up from your subconscious. That's where they're coming from. These dreams that you might have. I mean, most people say dreams don't mean anything, but they have something. They do something to us. So what, you got to ask yourself, what is your subconscious mind trying to, make you feel for whatever reason? I mean, you got to think about these things when it comes to that. I'm not saying you need dream interpretations or anything, but if that's what you feel that you need help understanding a dream, you need help understanding an idea that you come up with, you need help doing those things, that's where, your conscious actions, and that's where your physical reality starts to come in. Other people you can interact with, the books that you can read, the courses that you can do, the business that you want to build, all of that how. And here's the absolutely amazing thing is all that how of doing all these things is already out there. Everything that could possibly exist. You got all sorts of medical researchers, mental health people, coaches, therapists, practitioners. You got, an entire world of Scientology and all of that, and looking beyond what you see on the news and controversial ideas, that is what they do. So with that said, that with all of these other areas that you can look at, you've got some amazing things here. So one other thing that I'm gonna mention here is you have this area of personal growth, these books. Now you can go on the internet, you've got the entire internet to learn how to grow a business, how to grow and scale a YouTube channel, how to uh, influence a team, how to become the next big CEO or VP of a company, how to become an influencer, how to make $1 million on the internet. You've got all these hows, how to become more physically fit, how to have better relationships. You have all of those things already. So with that said, next level would want to be tackling that conscious area. You know, maybe you're not worried about the subconscious right now. Maybe you just simply don't believe that, or don't believe that this massive world that you have beneath the surface, or simply don't agree with it just yet. Then there's this entire area of just conscious, like literally just getting yourself motivated. How do you do that? How do you get yourself motivated? How do you write the right goals? What sort of goals should you set? How do you create more purpose in your life? What sort of, and that there's a how, and that's combined with more like intellectual ideas, right? The physical reality that we all want to experience, and the intellectual understanding of these things. So taking that to that level, you know, how do I set these goals? How do I wake up early in the morning? How do I start to build habits? And when you start to get into that level of like habits and these beliefs and these transformational ideas, what that really comes from is that ultimately that subconscious level. So if you want to know that conscious idea, there's these great books that are very, very good at getting people very quick, almost instant results. Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins is exceptional. I mean, obviously he's expanded on his ideas now, but there's some great ideas in there based on NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. So with that said, there is an interesting topic there to cover, because he talks about so many things that can help you tackle your conscious, but also, you know, these conscious things, these conscious activities that you do can start to mold your, you know, your subconscious reality and all of that. So with that said, you know, you got that conscious action, conscious activity, consciously, you know, being mindful, consciously taking action, consciously knowing what it takes to motivate yourself, help to influence others, and help you create the businesses and the world that you want. And finally, there's this amazing book that I've been reading. It's called Inner Size. Inner Size by John Assaraf. And John Assaraf has written an incredible book. And this book goes over some of the things that I'm sharing in here, some of the things, but he actually has like training in it. This is probably one of the top books that I've read that actually goes down deeper and actually provides training. I mean, you've got a ton of great books. Dr. Joseph Murphy has a lot of great books, and it's a very spiritual book. And on top of that, and we got on like Power of Your Subconscious Mind, you've got a lot of books on the law of attractions that end up being very spiritual. You've got Byron Katie's A Mind at Home with Itself, which is highly, highly spiritual, but not spiritual, because it talks about spiritual ideas, but in order to achieve those spiritual ideas is to not even consider that there's a spiritual element of it. So that might sound complex, but and a little bit like, ooh, I don't get it, like very esoteric, but that's what it is. I mean, that's what the idea of the Diamond Sutra is there is and there isn't, there is none and there's a lot, like things like that. But she actually takes it in a way that you can understand at a conscious level to, you know, have a better life. But without getting too in depth into, you know, Diamond Sutras and all that, Inner Size, absolutely fantastic book. You got to check that book out by John Assaraf, because if you want to know how to really tackle that subconscious mind, how to really get down into the depths of, you know, your understanding, your you know, beliefs, everything that is literally molding and transforming your physical reality, your physical experience, your physical world, everything that is creating this, and your habits, and like overcoming your habits and creating better habits and taking better actions and bigger actions and taking yourself to the next level, getting to the next big opportunity, developing the confidence, overcoming the challenges and these obstacles. But that really requires, yes, it requires physical action, right? Like in the moment, like if you're in the military or in a sports game, like you're in the moment, that requires physical action. But that also takes lots and lots of practice. The bravery that comes from a military soldier comes from lots and lots and lots of practice and preparation for, saving a teammate, getting into action. The activity that's required of an Olympic athlete takes lots and lots and lots of preparation, not just consciously like, oh, I'm gonna go on this balance beam, I'm gonna do 10 splits in the air while I'm doing a backflip, and nobody can do 10 splits in the air or 10 flips in the air while they're doing a back split or whatever I just said. But the idea here is or maybe someday somebody might, but if there's like a new athletic event or something. But what it comes down to is those ongoing conscious exercises and that molding of the subconscious mind, like, being prepared to do what it takes to be a warrior, to be a soldier, to serve your country, or whatever you decide to serve, and that, or it could be your teammates or whatever. And if you're an athlete, it takes thousands of hours of practice and exercise, conscious practice, conscious exercise, constant work in the physical reality, constantly knowing even the physical how-to of doing something, but also building that mindset, building those habits, creating those beliefs that you can do it, that you can achieve it, that you're going to go out and do it. And that is the 3 huge areas of personal growth, personal development, that you can, if you're missing one area and you haven't heard about this other area yet, then maybe that's the next level. And most people think like, oh, well, if I'm not getting the money, the physical reality, then I should work on my subconscious, and that's the biggest thing. But there's a lot of people that work on a subconscious, that spend so much time on the subconscious and all that, and they start being so mindful that they feel like they don't need the conscious effort, or they don't feel like they really want the physical reality, so they stop going after it. And that could be a thing in itself too. It all depends. It all depends on who you are and what you want in life. But ultimately, these are ideas and areas that you can guide your search to get to where you want to go. So with that said, conscious effort, how? Use the internet. You want to do the physical stuff, use the internet, do the research. How can you find that vacation of your dreams? How can you eat at that luxury restaurant? How do you create that business plan for the loan that you want to create that business of your dreams? And then the conscious, what sort of plans can you make? How do you get yourself motivated? What sort of goals do you set? What sort of actions? What sort of, how can you get yourself physically and mentally prepared for these things? And then that subconscious, what are the thoughts, those beliefs that are, below the surface that are limiting you? How do you overcome them? How do you tackle them? How do you tackle them so that you can start to build on top of all of these things? And with that said, you've got an amazing thing here, tackling that subconscious area. And again, John Assaraf's Inner Side. You got to check that book out. Absolutely incredible book. A lot of great ideas in it. And it's virtually guaranteed to help you tackle this element, because chances are you already know what you want to do. You already know what you want to do consciously. You want to know what activities that you want to go for. Maybe even set your goals already, and in some area of the physical experience, that real experience of all the physical things around us, you know exactly what you need to do, but there's just something that you're not doing. And with that, that is where a book like Inner Size is helpful. And you can read plenty of other books too, because a lot of books also help to tackle the subconscious area of it, the Power of Positive Thinking, Think and Grow Rich. All those books ultimately, help you ingrain more positive beliefs and these habits. But at the end of the day, the exact way that can help, method that can help you do that, check the book out. Inner Size, John R. Assaraf. That is the final pitch there. And with that, I hope this video is helpful. Thank you so much for watching it, and have a wonderful day.